So we just got done watching the seventh episode of Tokyo Revengers, and honestly, like this was one of the most serious episodes for sure, with a lot of things that just kind of happened during the episode, and a lot of very like dramatic things that occurred. But the reality is, I just could not stop laughing at the end of the episode because there is a quarrel, a lovers' quarrel, essentially between Mikey-kun and Draken-kun, and they are both completely obliterating and destroying all of Takemichi's childhood memories. As they're quarreling outside of his house, I mean, these men destroy his skateboard that he saved up a ton of money for. They destroy his bat that he hit his very first home run in fourth grade. I mean, this boy's Game Boy got destroyed. His freaking bike that he takes to school every day was the first thing to go. I mean, although that is very serious, that was the most funniest thing that I've ever seen. I'm still kind of laughing and getting over that specific scene. That's exactly where we kind of left off on, too, as we left off on the cliffhanger of Takemichi, like he's about to flip his freaking lid because they just destroyed his whole entire childhood as they were having this quarrel. So that's kind of the main thing that I want to focus on today's review is... So all of the events that happened within this episode still relatively happened like they did in the past. There was something that specifically triggered the division of the Tomen gang, and now we currently have this two sections of the gang between Draken's and Mikey's, kind of each division of the gang, right? So there are similar things that occurred and similar things that happened to the past. The one caveat, the one wrinkle in kind of this whole thing is Takemichi himself. In the past, during this quarrel, right, that led to Draken unfortunately dying, Takemichi wasn't part of the story. He wasn't part of what occurred. He wasn't part of Draken and Mikey's life. So he can be kind of the pinnacle and the cornerstone of what can really change what's going to happen within the story. And I think what I want to hope is that Takemichi realizes that, because right now he's still saying, oh shit, I was not able to change the events that occurred. And I hope that he throws away that mindset and realizes like, yo, I can be the thing that I could be the wedge that gets put in between them two, and maybe not heal them and heal the relationship, but he can still be a huge factor in changing on what their division means. I still think that he can bring them together by clocking them both. Whatever the case is, whatever he's going to do, I still think that he could be kind of the main thing that kind of, refolds the divide that happened between the two. I hope that ends up being what happened, especially because of the cliffhanger that they left us off on. I think that's going to be kind of end up being like what ends up happening. And I think it's really cool to kind of realize and think that, Takemichi could be the thing that changes this, right? Even Takemichi's best friends are like, why is this happening? Why are those two here? I can't believe this is happening out of Takemichi's house. And then does he have a death wish by inserting himself in between them two, right? So I thought that was really interesting and really cool. Now, if we're going to kind of look back at the whole entire episode, right, like the events that happened that were discussed to Takemichi in the past by the leader Osanai of the Mobius gang, is that there was a trigger that occurred that kind of set both of them off, and that's kind of what led to Draken's death. Now, what we didn't know was Homeboy got freaking stabbed. So he ends up fighting Pa. I mean, it's not really a fight. He destroys Pa, right? And he ends up like ending this dude's career, essentially. And then Mikey comes on the scene, and he instigates Mikey, like, yo, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And I mean, Mikey, like, right foot, left foot, clocks him, to the temple, and he knocks dude out. Like, he knocks dude out. And the whole entire gang is like, yo, what the F just happened, right? And that ends up occurring, that ends up happening. And then this dude, on a laugh attempt, he goes and he tries to, like, stab Mikey, and Draken stops him, calls him all the names and stuff. And then, Pa, he still has all the feels about what happened to his girl, what happened to his friend, what happened to his friend's parents, like all of this, like, garbage that this gang really is. And we couldn't believe. He ends up stabbing this dude, like, straight up, and that's the trigger. That's the event that happens. And Draken loses it, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, yo, what the F just happened? Mikey loses it because, he's really close to Pa. and he's like, come with us. And Pa's like, yo, I'm gonna man up to what I just did. We'll see you in whatever, take over the division for me. And, Mikey's really distraught about that. As they're running away, we saw Takemichi basically, he fell unconscious, right? And as he fell unconscious, there was a quarrel or a fight between Dragon and Mikey, which we need to get a flashback because we don't know exactly why they fought, but it was definitely over the events that just happened with Pa stabbing, him leaving. Mikey honestly is probably mad that they left him. Dragon's probably like, yo, why are you mad? He just screwed up big time for us. I can imagine that that's what it is, but we don't know for sure, But anyways, their quarrel still happened. But I think as we move forward, Takemichi's going to be the thing that kind of changes what ends up happening or the events that happen. And ultimately, maybe they don't ever get back together, which I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that he will be a cornerstone. But let's say that they don't. I still think that they could both be alive and both be, but I still think that they're going to get back together. But let's say that they don't. I still think Takemichi could be an intricate part because they both view him as a friend, like legitly. So I think he can still be an intricate part of both of their lives. But I think he will be the thing to get them back together, get the band back together, essentially. But I think he's also going to end up being a pinnacle of the gang as well. I think he's going to be part of the Manji gang. There's no other way out of it, right? Like he's going to be like third in command or some shit like that. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens going forward. Again, I love this anime. I love that we didn't get a time leap this anime. When he fell unconscious, I was worried about him waking up in the future, but thankfully he woke up in this time frame. He saw Emma, he got a little squishy action, and then Hina came in. Like, yo, what the F is happening? As homegirl was crying, and there was a whole, thing there too. So I can't wait till next week's episode, guys. Next week's episode is episode 8. Love this anime, one of the best new anime in the spring season, and hope a lot of people are not sleeping on this anime because they need to be watching it. Let me know what you guys thought about this week's episode down in the comments below, guys. Do me the huge honor of checking out these videos over here, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.